Oh yeah,
Oh yeah,
Chad
we're
Sonkin.
back.
We're
We're
back,
back.
just like we
Feels
left
good.
it. How we feeling, man?
Feels good in this studio, in
Yeah,
this with you. What a week. I
what a
feel good.
week.
How you feeling?
Feeling great, man. After the morning that we had,
Yeah, no.
some good sleep. I mean, don't underestimate how you can feel after a night of good sleep, a morning meditation, some breath work, and getting into that ice bath and having a hot shower after, huh?
I mean that actually my body and my brain are just buzzing right now. Like I feel electrified.
Yeah.
That good sleep is for real though. Like I haven't been sleeping incredible all the time. Usually I'm a great sleeper. And that sleep last night, like sleeping on that futon, man, I knocked out.
Yeah.
And that I feel electrified today.
Yeah, right? I
Electrified.
know the sleep is like the foundation. Like Matthew Walker, one of the sleep experts, and he's on a bunch of great podcasts. And I heard him on I think Tim Ferriss probably 10 years ago at this point, and it changed the way that I thought about sleep because I
Mm,
was always of the mindset of like sleep is for suckers, grind, time to sleep when you're dead. And yeah, there's a time for that. Like you can sprint, you can have sprints, and
for
there's a
sure.
time for that.
Hmm.
But also, I feel like that can be kind of a toxic type of mentality to have, and also you're just doing yourself a disservice
Yeah.
because the
Yeah.
thing that Matthew Walker said was most people think of sleep as like a pillar of health, like okay, you get good sleep, you eat well, but in fact sleep is actually the
The
foundation,
foundation.
and then the other pillars go on top of that.
And like how that's such a good point. And foundation's everything. Like, and
Mm.
when you're building a house, anything, like foundation's everything, which makes sense why sleep is so important. Then the other pillars on top of it. How'd you like that Joe Dispenza meditation? How'd you like that meditation this
Yeah,
morning?
what was it, what is it called, the DMT
Yeah, it's called
meditation?
like the supernatural DMT
Yeah,
meditation.
it was good. It's the third time I've done it with you because you rip
Hmm.
that all the
Yeah,
time. The
every
Joe
morning.
Dispenza meditation, and it's focused on what? On contracting your inner muscles, your
Hmm.
perineum, your lower
Your outer
abdomen,
abdomen.
and squeezing from that root.
And
And
taking it all the way up your spine through your chest to the top of your head,
mhm,
where you're bringing that energy, like
mhm,
that creative energy, like we were
right.
talking about, that's down here, up into your brain and
Yeah.
into the field.
I love that because it promotes like body awareness. I think
Hmm.
that it's so easy waking up first thing to just get right into the mind and out of the
Hmm.
body. You saw me this morning, like I was doing a little foam
Hmm.
rolling,
Hmm.
lacrosse ball
Hmm.
situation, some light stretches. I find that the mornings that I'm most present and most energized when I'm tapping into the body first thing,
Hmm.
and even if it's just some light movement, whatever, bringing some breath into it, non-negotiable. And that meditation is great because it forces you to focus more internally
Hmm.
on the body and
Hmm.
syncing up mind and body together.
Hmm.
And I
Hmm.
find that when I'm able to sync up mind and body together, in whatever way it is, it's a 12-minute guided meditation on
Yep.
free on YouTube.
Hmm.
That's great. Or if it's a 3-minute just power breath work,
Totally, that's
whatever it
great
is,
too.
just to feel in your body makes a big difference.
What is like, what has meditation brought to you? Like for you personally,
Mm.
like why do you love breathing or meditating? Like, is there a certain thing it does for you?
Yeah.
Do you know?
Yeah, it's a great question. Let's dive down this rabbit hole
Yeah.
because I want to ask you the same back
Yeah,
because
yeah, that's yeah.
I'm thinking of a memory of when you started meditating as well. But for me, the breath work and meditation, what it does is it helps it shift my state. Breath work in
Mhm.
particular, it shifts my state of being.
Mhm.
And when you can shift your state of being, and you can learn when and how you can shift your state of being, then you become a much more resilient human being because
Mm.
you can respond to the things that are happening in life and the things, the curveballs that life throws your way versus just reacting to it.
Mhm.
So I like especially that in the morning because then you're getting ahead of it, right? You're
Mhm. Mhm.
setting the tone and
Mhm.
then you can ride that momentum through the rest of the day. So being able to shift in that regard is fantastic. And then also from a meditation standpoint, just a basic mindfulness meditation, even for 3 minutes, 5 minutes, it's wild to see like where my mind goes and just to
Mhm.
observe. It's like, okay,
Mhm.
where's my mind going? Okay, it's gone back
Mhm.
to work now. Okay, it's gone back to this same situation at work now 3 times. It's okay. Let's bring
Mhm.
it back.
Mhm.
That's the point, right? Coming back,
Coming back.
bringing it
That's
back.
the muscle.
That's the point.
That's the curl. Like you're in, like when you're in the gym and benching or
Mm-hmm.
curling, that's the rep, right? Every time,
Every time.
which is so powerful and sets the tone for the rest of the day, that no matter what comes up,
Mm-hmm.
good, bad, scary, ugly, you could come back, come to that breath, come to that mind, come to that clear mind, and don't give the, like, don't, being able to not give the bad thoughts wings,
Mm.
right? Like that is a skill in itself. When a bad thought or a scary thought comes up, I know like, "Oh, I'm not gonna give that wings, you know? I'm not gonna
Mm,
give that wings. I'm getting out of that car." That's what I love about meditation is that it has taught me to be able to clear my mind, to center myself and just focus on the mind and the body like we were just talking about. And then when I have that clear head and that clear space and when I'm ready to move forward with my day, then whatever comes up, I know I just attack. I just do.
yeah.
Kendrick's got this line where he goes, "I'm gonna meditate then off your fucking head," and I'm just like, that's how I almost feel after
That's a
every
bar.
meditation. Like I'm like, oh, I'm like, I'm gonna meditate and off your head. Like I'm ready to go now. I'm clear. I'm conscious. I'm inside myself. Like I'm one with my mind and
Mm.
body. So
I
that's what
love that, dude. I remember when you first started meditating as well, and I feel like you're a case study and you're like a walking testimonial for what these practices, meditation, breath work can do for someone. Because, like, would you say you had ADD or ADHD
yeah, like the
growing up?
doctors would say, not only you would say it, like I was prescribed consistent medication because of my attention deficit hyper disorder, which really just is a superpower. But yes,
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 and like you're someone that always had so much energy, but you were in your head a
hmm
lot, and
hmm
I could see as your friend too how that would trip you up,
totally.
overthinking and just
Hypochondriac in a
hypochondriac.
lot
Yeah,
of
for
ways. I
sure.
struggled with that a lot
A
in
lot.
college.
Yeah. I mean, I can't remember how many times sitting there in the fraternity house you'd be like, I think I'm dying, man.
Yeah, yeah,
Like, bro,
yeah,
you're good. Take a deep breath.
yeah. That's a bruise, bro.
That's
You're
a bruise. You're
okay.
okay. But and so I think it was because you have a lot of
hmm
energy, and I think a lot of people can
hmm
relate to that. You have all this energy, and it's like,
hmm
how do I work with this? But
hmm
seeing you over the past, and it's been years of work and dedication to it. Years, I mean, 7, 8 years
hmm
of like full go work on this. It's incredible to see how much you've grown as a result of that, and how much more you're in your body, how much more it's kind of like I think of like a magnifying glass in the sun, and when you can concentrate the energy of the sun through a magnifying glass, you can start a fire.
hmm
And it feels like you've been able to take this as a tool instead of just these rays of the sun just heating everything. You're able to take it now and concentrate it, and it's this powerful force.
hmm
And
hmm
the proof is in the pudding with how you are interacting with people, with the world, what you're doing at the
hmm
level you're performing at. So I think that you're a great testimonial, a case study towards that. Anything you want to share on
Yeah,
that?
I mean, thank you so much. And I mean, like it's hilarious because like there was a time where like if you had me sit down and meditate like 8, 9 years ago, like I just probably could not do it. My thoughts going everywhere. I didn't know how to come back to that breath. And it's a constant practice. It's just been nothing short of a constant practice. And this ties into like something that you and I have not stopped talking about recently too. It's like it's the infinite game.
Mm,
It's like if I miss a day at the gym, if I miss a day of meditation, that's okay. I'll get it tomorrow. Like I'm playing the infinite game out here of consistency and compound interest, right? Like I'm not if today wasn't perfect, tomorrow will be better, right?
mm,
Like I'm not worried about missing a day at the gym or having a cheat meal anymore or missing a meditation. Like it used to be like if I missed, 5 days of my meditation or journaling, it's like, oh, well, I'm off it now. I guess I'm not doing like all of a
right.
sudden, like it just became less of a priority. But now it's like, no, this is just something I do. This is just part of the infinite
Mm,
game that I'm playing. So if I miss a day or two or three, I'm really not worried about it because in instinctively now, like I have to come back to it. Like it's part of me. It's like,
yeah.
oh, I need to do this. It's not like I want to do it.
Mm,
I need to do it. So it's just been taking that perspective of like, hey, I'm playing the infinite game out here. Like I'll come if I don't do something today,
yep.
I'll come back to it tomorrow.
I
You
love
know?
that, dude.
Yeah.
I think that there's such a I wonder how different things would be and people would be if we measured success not based on how many days in a row have I done this thing, or how long have I done this? Can I do this for? How cold can I get my cold tub? How long can I sit in meditation? How many times can I do XYZ? But instead we measured it on how quickly can we come back?
Mhm.
Because as human beings, we're always going to fall off in anything. And instead of, like you're saying, instead of there being a shame or guilt when you fall off, or you starting to feel crappy because you've fallen off, that is the moment where the muscle is built of
Bingo.
coming back.
Bingo.
How quickly can you come back? Can you practice coming back
Bingo.
and getting on track? And here's the best part. When you fall off track, instead of getting down that rabbit hole of shame and guilt and, oh, I did this poorly, it provides an opportunity to come back onto track
And make you even stronger.
and make you even better, because when you come back on track, you come back on track stronger that time. You're not just coming back to like where you were before, you're coming back stronger. So I think that we need to shift the shame and the guilt around falling off track, and around glorifying the consistency of doing X number of days or doing it perfectly for a long time, and bring it back to, hey, I fell off, but guess what? I got back today, because that's what we gotta focus on.
100%. That is what we have to focus on, and it's all about like how quick you could get back to anything, right?
Anything.
Like it's so funny because in life it's always just about like how quick can I get back on the horse? Like it's okay to cry, it's great to cry, but how long before it takes you to smile? It's okay to miss a day or miss this or miss that, but how quickly can you get back? That is the rep and that's the muscle. Um
Damn, yeah.
yeah,
That's so true.
it truly
And
is.
I think you think of it's not how many times you get knocked down, it's how many times you can get knocked down,
Yeah,
get back up and
it's
keep
not
going,
how
right?
hard you hit, it's how much you could take and keep on going. How much you could take and keep moving forward. That's how winning is done.
That's how it's done,
That's
man.
how winning is done. And success and succeeding, though it's funny to me. Because it's different for everyone.
Mm,
It truly is. And success at the end of the day, however you define it, or you know, working hard, however you define it. I think what is so important about hard work and about having a goal or a mission or
mhm,
something you're working towards and pursuing something, more than that being a line of like happiness to you, because hard work doesn't always equal happiness. Hard work can be awful. What is important in it is like you are understanding and learning more who you are
mm,
and who you are becoming because of that hard work, right? It's like you're earning that ability to trust yourself and to learn more about who am I as a person. Like you're discovering more of
mm,
you're becoming more self-aware through the process of succeeding in hard work.
mhm,
And the more you understand who you are as a person, the more honestly efficiently, the better you can make decisions, the more efficiently and quicker you can make decisions, right?
mm,
And the more success you can have because of that. So it's all just an understanding of like hard work and becoming successful and being consistent and pursuing a goal and a dream is really to just discover more of like who I am
yeah.
and become more self-aware of what I am.
And give yourself the chance to define that and
Yeah,
create that of
yes,
like, I
yes.
am someone who is resilient. I am
Mhm.
someone who can do hard things. That's beautiful, dude.
Yeah.
That's why I think, like, I think that there's so many, and I can relate to this myself too at a certain point, but a lot of people feel stagnant and feel um, bored and feel depressed. And I think of like some of our friends or like our little brothers and our little brothers' ages. And the one thing that I constantly find myself anytime I have the opportunity to drop in with one of those people that is asking for support is one of the things I always ask is, what are you pursuing?
Mhm.
And that always stunts people, that question. What are you pursuing? And if I were to ask you, what are you pursuing? You have a clear answer. And I want to ask you
Mhm.
that question. But if I ask you, what are you pursuing? So you are pursuing something. You're pursuing many things.
Mhm. Mhm.
And it's in the pursuit of something, of some goal, of some exploration, of some expansion. That's where fulfillment happens. Because I had this insight when I was climbing Mount Kilimanjaro in 2019. And on that summit day was the toughest day. It was the toughest day,
Mhm.
one of the hardest days of my life, truly.
Mhm.
Altitude sickness. I was rocked and was taking one step in front of the next, up to
Your
19,000, over
body's like
19,000 feet.
killing you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you're just, you
Your
have to
mind is
dig
probably
deep
going everywhere. Like,
everywhere and just one step in front of the next. And I got to the summit and caught a second wind as I got to the ridge, and you see the summit in the distance. And I caught a second wind. It was still like 45 minutes to go because you're moving pretty slow at that altitude. And moving forward, caught the second wind. And then I got there, and, just this wave of emotion came over me. I started crying. I was like so relieved to get to the top. And this insight like came through right away. And it was this inspiration that came through, and this message as clear as day, which is that stagnation cannot exist when you're challenging yourself. You cannot it's not possible to feel stagnant and bored and lethargic at the same time that you are challenging yourself in some way. And I don't care what way it is. It doesn't have to be climbing a mountain or doing a triathlon or running a marathon. It can be learning a new language. It can be developing a new skill. It can be whatever you feel that interest is, whatever that might be, follow that thing. Like I felt that interest in breath work from doing a breath work class, and I followed that thing, and it led me to becoming a Wim Hof method instructor and starting this business. So you don't know where that can lead, but pursue something, follow something, develop some skill, make yourself useful in some way that you can serve other people. And then fulfillment lights up, and you catch this tailwind of purpose and passion and drive and motivation. And that to me is the single best thing that we can all do, is pursue something that's going to make us better, that's going to make other people better as a result of it, and watch what happens.
Absolutely beautifully said, brother. Like, clip that. Like, boom, boom, clip. Beautifully said. And like you hit the nail on the head. And to the first point you brought up is like, when people do feel stagnant or bored or depressed, or I think those feelings are also good and okay. Now, like, it all comes back to like, we talk a lot about like, you want to like be in a vibration of like, I feel good. Be in a vibration of like, this is fun. I feel good. And I think a lot of people need to take a look at like, whether they're our age or older or younger, the answer could vary, and I'll explain in a sec. But like how does your alignment feel? Right? Like the worst thing you could do is pursue something and then and pursue something and it not be where you want it to go. Like succeeding in something that like isn't where you wanted to go. However, succeeding in somewhere, even if you didn't want to go, if it builds you a solid foundation or builds you riches or money to be able to go do the things you want to do, then that is okay.
Right.
And in fact, that is a solid foundation. Now you have money and you're not as stressful. Now you could go pursue the things you want to do. But I think a lot of people really need to take, like, it comes back to that self-awareness that I was talking about. Like, how do I feel? Like, do I feel aligned in this? Do I feel like the work meets the ends? Like, where the hard work and what I'm doing right now in that pursuit is taking me to where I want to go? Or there's a vision or a North Star that it's taking me to that North Star. And I think people need to take a look at like that alignment. And there's a difference between like, I'm bored, or this sucks and this is just hard, or I'm doing bitch work, because as we all know, like bitch work created the Karate Kid. So there's a difference between like working hard and embracing the suck, and then like, I'm just not aligned here. Right.
How do you differentiate between those two? How do you discern those two?
I think there's the only way to truly differentiate between those two is to truly know yourself. And if you only know yourself and truly know yourself by doing the hard things, by pursuing the things you want. And then you start to unravel, like, who am I in these moments, right? In these moments of happiness, in these moments of weakness, in these moments of, sadness, or this is really, really hard. You learn to know yourself. And you learn to know yourself because by how you respond, or how you're thinking, or how good you are at pushing away those negative thoughts, and how good you are at staying in a feeling good vibration. But when you're not aligned, and when you're not self-aware, it's really hard to tell the difference between I'm not aligned or I just need to embrace the suck.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, because those kind of blur together.
Because they could kind of blur
so
together.
What I'm taking from this too, which I think is really encouraging to anybody out there that might not know or is like, I don't know myself yet. Whatever you're going through right now is helping you learn and know yourself even more,
Bingo.
regardless of what it is.
Bingo.
So even being not aligned is the first step to being aligned.
Bingo.
Lack of clarity is the first step of clarity. Knowing what you don't want is perhaps even more important than knowing what you do want.
Absolutely.
So there's a relief that comes with that as well. And I can sense, I knew that for me too in my career before I got into this aligned path where I feel true alignment with what I'm doing. It was like, I don't know what I want, but I know it's not this.
Right.
And then there was times too where it's just like, I think I know what I want. It's kind of generally in this area. I'm not sure exactly. And as the Tony Robbins saga goes, is like, pick up the rock and throw it as far as you can in the direction that looks decent, and then walk up to it, look around, pick up the rock and throw it again. And you just keep throwing the rock in the general area, walking up to it, resurveying the land, and maybe slightly throwing it a little bit more to the left, and walk up, see the land. So it's an iterative process.
It's an iterative process. Bingo. And that, I love that analogy and like that way of thinking it, because you said that to me like 8 years ago.
Yeah.
And that could not be more true. Especially where like in the place I was in at that point, where it's like, thought I want like entertainment, sports, sales, tech, and you just throw it in that general direction, and you pick it up, glance at it, and it's perfect. That's a perfect analogy. And yeah, dude, I think like one of the most powerful things you just said is like the first step to becoming more aligned is understanding like I'm not aligned right now. Right. Like because
you're building a feeling framework and a vibrational context for what alignment is. It's like, it's kind of like the gutter. It's like the, going bowling and you have the bumpers up and you're kind of like bumping into the bumper. Like, ooh, okay, that doesn't feel good. Let me come back over more towards the center of the lane. And one of the things I think that we put in our society, we put so much pressure on ourselves of trying to, quote unquote, figure out what I want to do with my life. And I was having a conversation with someone about this who was feeling this immense pressure of, I don't know what I'm going to do with my life. I got to figure out what I'm going to do with my life. And like, that's such a heavy burden to bear. I got to figure out what I want to do with my life. Nobody knows. We don't know where we are. We don't know what we're doing. If you zoom out far enough, we don't know where we are. Let me ask you, Chad, where are we right now? Like physically, where are we right now?
Physically, we're in this studio in San Diego, California.
Okay, which is where?
Which is like, Oceanside.
Okay, which is where?
Which is
where's
in the
Oceanside?
United States.
Okay, where's the United States?
Somewhere up here in the globe. Like
okay, and
North
where's
America,
the globe? Where's North America?
Like in the universe.
Okay,
like,
and where's the universe?
Yeah, okay. I see what you're doing here. I see what you're doing here.
Where's the universe? Where's the Milky Way galaxy?
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know. Floating in a nebula. Like
100%.
We don't know where we are. We don't know how we got here.
Yeah.
And so there's this immense pressure of I got to figure out what I'm gonna do with my life. And if instead we can start to chunk it down and be like, this is a worthwhile pursuit right now because I'm learning, I'm gaining context, either of context of what I'm more aligned with, what I'm less aligned with, but this is getting me one step further. And like, it's an iterative process constantly because we're constantly defining ourselves. We're constantly evolving and growing to more into who we are. And so I think that there's a lot of pressure, and I want to give people permission to take that pressure off.
Yeah. And thank you for doing that. Like, let's give people that permission to take that pressure off, and you're never going to figure out what you want to do with your life. You're never going to figure out what you're supposed to do here, but you could damn sure create it. You could damn sure create it. And I think like we need to be as young entrepreneurs, as young individuals, as we continue to evolve and get older and grow, like we need to like give ourselves permission to like it's okay to like for your job for you have to do some things that suck.
Yeah.
It's okay for you to have to do some things that you just don't like to do. Like in that process, you're learning very important things of what you do and do not like. But like more importantly in that process, you're essentially giving your understanding who you are becoming more, and then you're able to create more of like what you do want to do. Like I never knew, I don't know how I got here. Like I felt at like like the dots only connect looking backwards, right?
Right.
But what I did know is like that I had to build a solid foundation for myself,
Yes.
a solid foundation of like
Fundamentals.
fundamental routine and a practice of like who I am and who I wanted to be. And like my North Star has always been like, I want to be a successful, happy individual that loves what I do, that works with their best friends and is surrounded by their friends and family. Like that has always been my North Star. So I've always aimed to create a foundation that would set me on a path to be able to live that life, to have that life.
That's
right.
Great.
And so I think it's very important to have a North Star, but like, you know, it comes back to success, because success, at the end of the day, success is funny. I heard somebody saying this recently, and they're like, if you are successful, it's because you overpaid for that, right? Like you worked harder, you put in more money, more time, more sacrifices than anybody else deemed that was worth it, right? So like the funny thing with success is like at the end of it, once you get there to that thing that you wanted so bad, that was going to be the most successful thing of your life, is like you get there and you succeed, and then you're like, wait, did I just overpay for this? Because the reason you were the one that was able to be successful in that was because everybody else that was going towards that same thing deemed like at some point like that was like they didn't want to sacrifice this. Or do you know what I'm saying?
I do. And
so like that's why happiness has to be internal. That's why like success actually needs to be internal to me.
Inside job.
An inside job.
Yeah.
And it won't be anything external. Like, does that make sense?
It does make sense. A question I have for you is, how do you balance the pursuit of like you're saying, let me ask you first, do you feel successful right now?
I do. I feel very successful.
Okay.
I feel very successful, but like on a spectrum. Like I want more.
Yes.
Like,
so that's what I want to say.
I
want to explore that conversation is like balancing this feeling of contentment, this feeling of enoughness, this feeling of success and fulfillment in the present moment, while also striving, because it's kind of a paradox. It's like either you're going towards a goal, you're sacrificing, you're putting in the hard work, or you're present and you're focused and you're successful in the present. So those things can be seen as kind of opposites or two sides of the same coin. Like how do you play with those things if you feel yourself successful now but you're striving towards success?
Yeah. Great question. I think great question. I would say life is the ultimate balance. Like that's the thing. It's like this game of life is the ultimate paradox. It's like it's the yin and the yang.
Right.
So it's like, dude, I couldn't feel richer in life right now. But like, can my bank account be richer? You freaking bet, dude. You freaking bet. And will it? You freaking bet. So it's like, I could have this and feel just like great, like gratefulness is a foundation for me. Like, right. Like it all stems from gratitude, but it's like, I could feel successful and rich and happy, but also hungry and the relentless and striving for so much more.
Both can be possible.
Both can be possible.
Yep.
Right? It's like it doesn't have to be yes or no. It could be both.
Right.
And that's what's so funny about this thing we call life, is like life is the ultimate paradox.
It's so true.
Right? Like are we even supposed to be out here working hard? Like aren't things just supposed to be fun and easy? Yeah, I would think so, but but things being fun and things being easy come and stem from like working hard and like and striving for something. So it's like it always is this ultimate paradox and this yin and yang. So it's like you got to be so happy and grateful for what you have, but still so excited and hungry for more. Right?
Absolutely. I think so too. I think what is Abraham Hicks says, grateful for what is, eager for what's becoming, or I'm grateful for, I don't think that I'm just saying this on the spot now. So I think it was something like that, but it's like, I'm grateful if I think in this moment, like I'm grateful for who I've become and I am excited to meet who I'm becoming. And it's this combination of being and becoming. And I think that there's the vibration and the feeling of gratitude. Like right now, if you were just to like close your eyes and feel grateful for something or someone, you can feel that swell up in your heart, and you can feel that emotion of gratitude. It's so powerful, so moving. And the emotion of eagerness and the vibration of eagerness pairs really well with that feeling. So I think it's this kind of combination of feeling grateful for what is and eager for what's next and what's to come. And that together is a really beautiful spot to be, because if you can feel grateful for where you are and also eager for where you're going, that's beautiful.
That's beautiful.
That's beautiful, because then you can look forward, you can be present, but you can look forward and you can strive and you can put in that work, and you can feel good about overpaying for success in the way that you want to, because it's all part of this infinite game you're playing.
Totally. Amen. Beautifully said. Beautifully said. Now, like we talk a lot about like, you know, we've talked a lot about like success and being grateful and all of that. Now, a big thing I would like to pose to you, and something that I see all the time, and like that a lot of people like actually will come to me about, is like just adversity in general. Because like, as we know, it's easy to sit here and say like in this, like we're grateful and like everything's great and we're so successful and so rich, but like people don't see the blood, sweat, and tears. People don't see the adversity like that you face, that I face, that we're all facing, right? So like, how do you attack adversity? How do you attack a moment where like your phone completely is broken and like there's, you know, at the worst possible time, or something just went completely wrong, or like whatever it is, like how do you attack and face that adversity to stay in this place?
Yeah, it's a great question. And I think it's the most important thing for us to talk about. And like we're going through things in real time right now. And I won't talk about you two in the last couple of weeks that you had, because you faced that in a real life moment, real spectrum. For me, I think the first thing is, and I've learned this because these past several months have been a lot of adversity, a lot specifically business adversity that wasn't necessarily expecting. But I think the first thing in those moments where you just feel like, you know, the drain plug's been pulled and all inspiration, everything's just sucked right down, and you feel empty, or you feel like, oh, gut punch after gut punch. One of the first things that I turn to is gratitude, funny enough, is just pausing and looking around and finding something that I can feel grateful for, something. And that's a really good place to start to kind of like catch your footing. It's like, okay, cool. At least in this exact moment, this doesn't change things on a macro scale, but in this micro moment right now, like, okay, cool. If I'm like doubled over because of something that's happening in the business, I can like look around at the office and be like, whoa, I'm in an office that we've created, that this was a dream. Like, oh, I'm grateful for that. Or like, oh, I'm sitting across the table from my cousin and co-founder, and like, we're going to navigate this together. Or like Chad, my head of sales, and like, we're going to navigate this together. Whatever it is, we're going to navigate it together. So that's the first thing that I feel like can help take the edge off of adversity when it strikes. And then number two is being able to have a team of people that you can be honest with and vulnerable with, that can have your back, because it's like we talk about these things and we know these principles, but being able to trust the process and being able to see, we'll see, like let's see how this could potentially lead to something good too in those moments, is really freaking hard. It's really hard, and it doesn't get easier, but what does get easier is when you can have other people around you that can have that perspective and be like, yo, we're good. You're good. You got this. Like, and this is a safe space. You can share what you need to share. Like, let it out, feel the emotions. You can do it. And so I think having that support system around and having those people that can hold that space for you is everything, because it's team sport. So like when you're playing in basketball and you're just brick from three and you can't hit a shot, and you got to have the teammate to be like, yo, keep shooting. Let me pass you the ball again. Shoot through it. Shoot. You got to shoot your way out of a slump. And also, like, you can pass me the ball and I'll take it to the rack and I'll score, because I got your back too. So it's such a team sport.
It's such a team sport. Success is a team sport.
It is.
Beautiful answer, Joshua.
So what do you say about that? Because, and I'd love for you to share a little bit about, you know, what happened after Chicago when we came back from Chicago. It's like, you're talking about real life stuff, and I'm constantly inspired by you receiving some pretty, you know, pretty wild news to how you were able to respond to that for yourself, for your family, and for everyone around you.
Yeah, no, yes. First of all, great answer,
Yeah.
and I think I think adversity, like I love that. Everyone's probably seen that clip of like I think it's Kobe or somebody else, and they're talking about adversity, and when adversity comes up or when there's a problem, the first thing they say is good,
Good.
opportunity
Yeah.
to
I think it's
rise,
Jocko Willink,
opportunity to
right?
rise.
Good.
Now, at the other side of that, I was I was listening to the Daily Stoic or Ryan Holiday or something, and he tells this story about Ernest Hemingway, who had like wrote all of these novels, and all his writing was like piled up, and can't remember if it had like got stolen or got lost, but he lost everything. And he wrote, and he was quoted saying like, I know that this is for the better and that my blessings are on the other side of this, but I'm just not there yet. But I'm
Mm.
just not there yet. And I think there's something beautiful in that space too,
Mm.
where it's like, I know that this is for the better. I know that this is for the best, and that on the other side of this are my blessings and my biggest successes, or that God has something even better for me, but I'm just not there yet. I think
Mm.
that is beautiful. Just and okay.
So
So like,
good.
you
So
don't
good.
always have, you could give yourself a permission to like feel and like
Right.
understand like this hurts, this is hard, this is heavy, this is sad. Now on the same flip of that coin, to
Mhm.
the other part of like my blessings are on the other side of this, is like it's a very this is a very stoic principle, if you will. But like, you know, stoicism is essentially at its core is everything's out of our control. How do we respond to it?
Mm.
Right. And the vast majority of things are out of our control.
Mm.
So the only real position we can adopt is two things. Is one is indifference or acceptance when things happen, like when adversity strikes, is like indifference or acceptance. And then the second aspect is like to choose it, is to take a little bit of power back
Mm.
by choosing it. Um
What
like
do you
it,
mean by choosing it?
by choosing it. Like if I'm sick, if I'm sick, well then the universe, God, like I'm supposed to be sick.
Mm.
I'm supposed to be sick. Actually, in
Let me
matter of
embrace
fact,
it.
I'm gonna choose to be sick. I embrace being sick because I know through this, like, is where I'm reaping my power, or where I'm gaining a new perspective, or where I'm gaining my biggest blessings, or where my writing is gonna take off, or where my,
Mm.
ideas are gonna formulate. Like through this is where I become a level up. And when you when you have that mentality to be able to understand that like the vast majority of what is happening to me or for me is out of my
Yeah.
control,
Yeah.
and the only thing I could do is actually just choose to accept it and embrace it, and now I could take some control back.
Mm.
And now I know that like in taking control back, that through this adversity I'm going to be better for it,
Mhm.
and that mentality, that mindset will get you through anything
Mm.
and through everything. You know what I mean?
I do. So apply it in real time to your grandfather passing away.
Yeah, so
Apply it in
like
real time, because it's great to hear this, but like how easier said than done.
easier
You
said
just
than
went through an
done.
experience, so
Yeah,
tell me about it.
yeah, easier said than done, and I'm still experiencing it, right? It's fresh and it was recent, but like, we were we were in Chicago for my grandfather's 84th birthday, and it was great. He was great, and like a week later to the dot, like I got the call that he had passed away, suddenly, like kind of by complete surprise, honestly. And that's heartbreaking news, no matter who
Mhm.
you're losing, or how old or when. It's heartbreaking news, and I felt all the emotions. Like I
Mm.
wasn't afraid to cry. In fact, like it felt amazing to cry because I loved him so much and so deeply. But in that moment, like I couldn't also help but think like I'm surrounded by my little brothers, my mom and dad, my aunt and uncle, my two cousins. We spent the whole week together. My mom and dad like had to adopt my grandfather's dog because he has a puppy that was 8 months. And I couldn't help but like look around as we're like sitting Shiva and just being like, this is just bringing us closer together as a family.
Mm,
I'm spending time with my cousins that I haven't got to spend with them in years. Like we're
mm,
bonding, we're getting closer. My uncle like just was handling everything like that really would have been a headache because it was my mom and my aunt's dad.
mhm,
That would have just been a headache for them to handle. And my uncle just stepped up to the plate and was knocking things out left and right and just leveling up. Like it felt like he was just leveling up. And I saw this whole like badass side of him that was just taking control that I never really knew existed. And for my mom and my aunt, as hard as it is to like lose their father and their rock in their life, like it also is this new chapter for them to like,
mm,
as the Jewish religion believes, to like truly level up and
mhm,
like take on this next phase of life and like this new chapter and to become stronger. And he's with us more
mm,
now than ever. But like in that moment, like of death and sudden, tragic, sad death, there was so much beauty, man.
mm,
There was so much beauty. Like he was up there in heaven, like seeing all of his grandchildren with this dog, like in one bed, like just cheesing, man. And like he was seeing all of us hanging out for days and days on end. He was seeing that up there from heaven, just cheesing, just smiling. And it brought us so close. And I feel like he's with me more than ever now, and I'm being guided by him more than like ever now. And he gets to watch me and be a part of me more than ever
mm,
now. And he'll continuously live on through me. But
mm,
that was just how I saw it. That was what facing it nobly would turn this tragic misfortune into truly good fortune. And like I'm closer with my parents, I'm closer with my brothers, I'm closer with my aunt and uncle and cousins because of it. And there's beauty that has arisen from that and
mm,
from death and probably will continue to arise from it because we're still in it. It's only, been 3-4 weeks or whatever.
mm.
So
That's
yeah.
beautiful, brother.
Does that
Thank you
make
for
sense?
sharing.
Yeah.
And it's really beautiful. And to see it in real time. And
Mm-hmm.
I was, blown away because I know how close you guys were too and how close you are.
Mm-hmm.
And to see that, and I know that energy was such a rock for the rest of your family as
Mm-hmm.
well to show up with that
Mm-hmm.
perspective. And what I love that you said too is that you couldn't just jump to that right
Mm-hmm.
away without first giving yourself the time, space, permission to feel
Mm-hmm.
the feelings fully of it too.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think that a lot of this can be conflated with something bad happens. Good, it's all for the best. Let's move through it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a recipe for danger.
That's a recipe for danger
Because
too.
then you're just sweeping things under the rug and
Mhm.
you're kind of just you're distracting yourself from what the real lesson or
Yeah.
message or beauty can have, like
Yeah,
you're saying.
exactly, dude. And like this is what like, two of my girlfriends like that have taught me this, like have said like when these emotions come up, instead of like just like sweeping it on the rug or like, oh, I'm gonna face it head on. So and like I can do that. I have done that. I do that successfully, like in some cases. But like, like, okay, what is this feeling? Like, here, come
Mm,
sit at the table. Come sit at the table. What is this feeling that I'm feeling? Oh, I'm feeling really sad. Like, what am I feeling sad? I'm feeling sad that like my grandfather passed away. Like, yeah, that makes sense. Like, let's feel that. Let's cry. Like,
mm,
that feels good. I'm crying, tears down my face because like I love him so much.
mm,
Like that was beautiful. And it's with any type of adversity or emotion, like if you're very stressed or really beat up, like, okay, why do I feel that way? Let's examine that first. Like, what am I feeling? Let's first ask, what am I feeling? Okay, am I feeling sad? Am I feeling angry? Maybe it's anger. Okay, I'm feeling angry. Now what am I angry about? Oh, I'm angry because Josh said this to another guy when like that wasn't true. Okay. Is that a big deal? Now I can think through it.
mhm.
Is that a big deal? Does that really matter? Okay, now I can move past it.
Right.
Like sitting there and like, okay, come take a seat at the table with
Working
this
with those
emotion.
emotions. Yeah.
Now let's work through it. Now
Mhm.
let's move past it.
Yeah, because our feelings just want to be felt.
Our feelings just want to
That's
be
all they
felt.
want. That's
Our-
why they're there in the first place.
and our thoughts control our feelings,
Mm,
right? Like if our thoughts can make us sick, if our thoughts can make us sick,
mhm.
then our thoughts can make us well. Right?
I believe that. I believe that.
Right?
That's interesting though. Do our thoughts control our feelings? I don't know. I don't know if that's. I mean, I think they can.
To some degree,
They certainly can. They certainly can.
Mm-hmm.
But it's a weird thing with thoughts and feelings, mind and body. And I've done a lot of emotional work and kind of peeling the layers back around some of the somatic practices of feeling and letting emotions move through you.
Mm-hmm.
Because I was shoving things in the closet, sweeping them under the rug, and I like what you said though. The analogy that your friends were talking about is like, okay, sadness, okay, anger, okay, loneliness, like come take a seat at the table. And even just that, and this is where meditation helps as well, but being able to know that I don't have to automatically take that identity of sadness or anger. I don't have to be sad. I don't have to say I am sad, I am angry, I am hurt, I am lonely. I am feeling sad. I am feeling hurt. I'm feeling lonely. And then it creates a separation from you and yourself, because you are not, at the end of the day, you are not those thoughts. You are not those feelings. You're experiencing those.
But you are not those.
But you are not those. And so by being able to say,
that's dope. I love that.
So by being able to say, and I love this so much, and it reminds me of the Disney movie Inside Out. It creates the separation of, I am feeling this thing, but I am not that thing. And because this thing will come and go and this thing will change, but I am not that thing. And I don't need to take on the identity of that thing, because then I take that on and now that becomes me. But I am the observer of those thoughts and emotions. I'm not those things. I'm the observer of those. I'm the captain of the ship, and I'm the observer of those things that move like the weather and come in and out and change and transform. And that level of separation, I think, is so healthy and so important to help you move through things.
I just, that's such a great insight, like, or perspective, like, that I will take, because that's perfect. Like, I am feeling sad, I am feeling lonely, but I am not lonely.
Right.
I am not sad. Like, I've felt lonely before, you know what I'm saying? And like, I've always lived with roommates and had best friends, but like, I felt lonely, but I'm not a lonely person. You know what I mean?
Right.
That's beautiful. That's really powerful. That's really dope.
Thanks, man.
Okay, cool. Love that.
Yeah. So
wow.
I want to ask you, one of the things we were talking about earlier around playing the infinite game. I feel like you play the game of life, and you view a lot of this as a game, as do I. But I want to kind of peel back some of the layers around that. Also, before we dive down that rabbit hole, one thing that just came to mind around the adversity. I have another answer to your question around what do you do when you hit adversity. And it came from a video that that you shared with me, or I shared with you, is what if you were the main character of
That's where I was going with
movie?
it. That's where I was going with that.
What if you were in those moments of adversity, what if you were the main character of a movie that you were watching? How would you respond? How would you act? Because you are that main character. We say this all the time. We say when adversity hits or something doesn't go our way, we say, the audience is at the edge of their seat right now. They just refilled their popcorn and they're at the edge of their seat waiting for what's going to happen next. And guess what? We are the main character. We are the hero of the story, and we get to choose how we show up and what happens next in the story.
What cue the montage scene, right?
Cue the montage
scene. You know what I'm
scene.
saying?
Yeah,
it's like,
exactly.
It's those moments, it's like, oh, this sucks. This is tough. Like, I wasn't expecting this. Like, all right, camera's rolling. Like, you're going to want to watch this one.
You're
like,
going to want to watch
camera's
this.
watching.
Yep.
I love that perspective. Like, you're the hero. You're the main character of this story. We're telling a story, right? So it's like, in those moments, I do feel like, okay, good.
Yeah.
This is an opportunity to rise and like watch what I'm able to do. And not only watch what I'm able to do, but if I could do this, if I could prove to myself in this hard moment that I could do this, like, what else can I prove to myself? Like, that is gaining more self-awareness. That's gaining more trust, more confidence, no matter what. And that's also, you're going to be able to free a lot of other people. A lot of other people.
So good.
You're going to be able to free a lot of other people and inspire a lot of other people that they could do the same in those moments, in a similar moment, right? It's like, if you want, I said this on our other podcast, but it's like, if you want freedom, you better free someone. And like, what that means to me is like, every time adversity strikes or this gets hard, whether it's in business, whether it's in life, like, I love to think, okay, I'm going to embrace this and accept this and choose this as nobly as I can and turn this misfortune truly into good fortune. But like, why do I want to embrace it that bad? Why do I want to accept it and choose it so bad? And the true reason is because I got a best friend like counting on me, watching on me, seeing how I respond. I got 2 little brothers watching me, seeing how I respond. I got little cousins, friends here that are watching me, seeing how I respond, right? And I want to set a path. I want to show a path, and I want to show a way, and I want to show to anybody that is watching or following this journey, my journey, your journey, our journeys, is like, hey, here's what you could do. I want to be able to coach you or inspire you or give you, you know, the recipe for greatness on like, here's how you
here's the starter kit.
Here's that starter kit. Thank you. That's what I was looking for. Here's that starter kit to like how you respond to this. Like, so every time there's a moment or like I didn't get the job or I got like, or you're going through heartbreak or you're going through business struggle, it's like, okay, once I get through this and embrace this nobly, I will be able to help and teach and guide and inspire so many others to be able to do the same when their moment comes, when their adversity comes. And that gets me through it every time. It's like I want to inspire people to be able to do the same thing, you know?
That's so good. And you do that for sure. You definitely do that in the way that you show up. And I remember when
that's what stories do.
And that's what stories do. Yeah. I remember when you called me after you got laid off of one of your jobs. This was this right before COVID, during COVID?
Yeah, Bird.
Bird. Yeah. And you called me and your energy was so lit up and you were just like, yeah, like I got laid off. I'm like, what? Like you sound like this is a good thing. You're like, it is a good thing. Like, great. What's going to happen next?
What's the other perspective, right? Like immediately I just like, and that was years of practice, and I've built years of practice on top of like that mentality that you know, like it took me years of practice to get to that spot, and now I've compounded that over and over again. But it's like for me and for us, it's just like, what's the other route?
Right.
What's the other route?
Yeah. Yeah. You're right. I mean, that's it.
So in some things you just got to outlast. Some things you just got to outlast. Like we were talking about this earlier, but there's some moments and there's some times where like you just got to buy yourself more time. You just got to outlast this feeling, or you just got to embrace the suck of this work, whatever it is. Like some shit you just got to get through. The fastest way through it is through it, right?
Yeah.
Like you go climbing that wall, it's going to take you a lot longer. It's going to be a lot more dangerous, and it's going to be a lot scary when you get to the top. Have to figure out how to get down instead of just running right through it. And I like to think about it in that way all the time. It's like, I'm going through this.
Yeah. Chad Sonkin goes through the walls.
Yes.
Chad Sonkin goes right through the wall. All right. So let's go back to the concept. Love that rabbit hole there. Let's go back to this concept of playing the game of life, and something I've been focused on a lot recently too is like this Elizabeth Gilbert, who wrote the book Eat, Pray, Love. She wrote this amazing book I just finished called Big Magic, all about the creative process. You got to listen to this one, man. Super good.
Yeah, cool.
And she talked about this. I found this very interesting, but back before the Renaissance, you know the word genius, when we say something like you're a genius or I'm a genius.
I don't get that a lot, but I get it.
So,
I get it all the time.
So the word genius, and where this used to come from, is that people used to have geniuses. And imagine a genius like Dobby the elf, like this mythical creature, this character here that would be your genius, that would bring you the inspiration. So your genius was something outside of yourself that connected you to source of inspiration that would allow you to channel essentially and create. So you would have a genius, and your genius would work through you to create. And so there was a separation. And when another line that I love is take no credit, take no blame, stay focused on your chief aim, especially as a creative when you're creating things. If you take super high responsibility for what you're creating, or you take super high pride for, I just made this beautiful thing and now I'm taking all the admiration for it, then when you create something that's not as good, you're going to take that shame too. So the genius was this thing that separated, almost insulated you, because whatever I create, it's like, okay, like that was really good. Like, nice work, genius. Like, yeah, genius did it, or that was shit. Like, all right, genius created something shitty, but like that's not my fault. And so you have that kind of approach. It wasn't until after the Renaissance when we started merging this idea of the self is the source of all, and not God or something bigger than ourselves, but like it's coming from the individual itself, that we started saying, I am a genius, or you are a genius. And then it all of a sudden merged those things to now where I put something out there, it's a reflection of me and not of this other worldly inspiration that's coming to me. So she talks about this concept in the book, which I found interesting, and how like creativity comes to you and these ideas will come to you and it's up to you to choose it or not. But she was also talking, why I bring this up is she was talking about this, like bringing this, what she calls like trickster energy, like bringing this energy of like playfulness and like, and laughter and lightheartedness, especially to the serious things. And there's something that as I was reflecting on that, like there's something so spiritual about that. And like, to me, I view success as being the old man that's like just messing around hardcore and like breaking the rules and like not taking things seriously. And like that, if we can maintain that spirit of infancy and play throughout the most serious things, like there's something really spiritual about that.
Yeah, man. Yeah. But like there's something so spiritual about that. And I think it's like there's a line like we're laughing through the worst shit. Like we're laughing through the worst shit because at the end of the day, like we can't take this that seriously.
Right. Nobody gets out alive anyway.
Nobody gets out alive anyway, bro. Like it's like we're supposed to have fun. We're supposed to be out here having fun. We're supposed to be out here pursuing love, pursuing friendships, like making art, being creative together, like pushing our bodies to the limit and like and working hard to like just as much as like we should. Like there's a quote like that it would be a shame to live your whole life and never see what your body is fully capable.
Right.
And I believe the same thing for like your talents. Like it would be a shame to like have this whole talent in who you are and like never see what you're fully capable of. And all of those things, like in all of those pursuits, whether it's your body and going to the gym, like I have fun at the gym. Like let's have fun. Let's live. Like let's laugh. Same thing at work. Like what do we tell ourselves? Like what do you say to me like almost every morning? Let's judge today based on how much fun we could have, how much work we could put in that is fun and exciting, and let the rest take care of ourselves. And like
that's got us this far.
That's got us this far,
of
brother.
how, and yeah, we have evidence that this works of like how, and that was our theme for June so far too, which is like how can we let's make June the month where we can show up and focus as little on the scoreboard as possible. It's so easy to scoreboard watch, especially in the game of sales. Like this is our job. It's like we have these metrics, but instead of focusing on the outcomes of those, let's focus on the inputs. Let's focus on those leading inputs there, and let's focus on just mowing. Like let's just do the work. Chop wood, carry water, do the work, and focus on feeling good and having fun in that process, and measure our success not on what comes as a result of that, but measure our success on how little we can care about the outcome of those things. Because then we are so focused and present on what's in front of us that the score takes care of itself. The score takes care of itself every single time.
That's my boss. How cool is that? That's fun. Like but dude, like actually, like that right there is it. And like that's the game of sales too. It's like put in the work and let the score take care of itself. Put in the work, let the scoreboard take care of itself. Like go for no, right? And it's like we really are out here to like connect and make art and like pursue things and have fun and like live, laugh, cry, all of it, man.
It wouldn't feel so good if we did it.
It wouldn't feel so good if we didn't. And like
to help others.
Yeah, to help others, to tell a good story.
Yeah.
Like that's the point, right? I think so.
I think so. That's the game I'm playing.
Yeah, it's the game we're playing.
You know?
That's the game we're playing.
If it didn't feel so good to help others, to make art, to laugh, to love, to cry, to feel the full spectrum of emotions of what we're capable of feeling, to fully exercise ourselves, to wring the towel out, then what's the point?
What's the point, man? Then what's the point? How do you then what advice would you give to someone that is in a position where that they don't feel like, whether it's like in their job or just in their life, where they don't feel like they're having fun? Like we talk about that, and you say this all the time, is like we have a pharmacy within our brain that we could tap into. And golly gosh, did I feel that this morning, like after we hit our meditation and we got into the cold and then we hit the hot shower. It's like you might as well have taken 10 pills is how you
Right.
feel. Like,
Yeah.
but it's like, no, we could tap into that within our brain. Like, how to explain that?
Yeah, well, I think the thing that I shouted when I got in the shower after the cold and after that when it all hit me, and you said something similar before as it hit you because you went first, and then I got in, I was like, people literally take drugs to feel this way. Like I'm feeling the tingling throughout my body, like I'm feeling this euphoria, this body high. I think you said something like, I feel blissed out. It's like people literally take drugs to feel this way, which is nuts.
And we're getting that every day.
And we have access to that. And I think one of the things is knowing that as human beings, it's our birthright to feel that. We have that within our body, within our being to feel that. We have a right to feel that pleasure, to feel that ecstasy of the full spectrum of life. Like we can feel that, and we can feel that and why I love the work that we do is breath. Everybody has access to breath. Cold water. Yeah. Maybe it doesn't get as cold as, an expensive cold tub does, but like you have your tap will go cold. Like you can get cold enough water, get a cold shock, or go jump into a lake, or go get cold shock. We have access to these things that are simple tools that can bring us back within our body and our being and unlock what we're possible feeling. So to answer your question though, what was the question? The question was something around like what to someone that's not feeling.
Yeah, to someone that's like not feeling those things every day, but wants to be feeling those things, or that someone that, is struggling, whether like that's at work or that's in personal relationships, like, like someone like we're so blessed. I guess what I'm kind of getting at too is like, I've always felt internally grateful for like, you said earlier, success is a team sport. And like the team that we've had around us from the time we've met, which is, since we were 18, kids. 19 years old, it has just been incredible. And it's like, how do you like, I think that's one of the biggest things I'm grateful for is like that team, that family, that like circle that is just like my brothers, my sisters, like people that are just like, it's different with, and together we're able to like live this way and hold each other accountable this way. And I'm just curious, like, so like from your perspective, if somebody doesn't have those things, or is looking for those things, like to have those feelings, to have that success as a team, like where do they start? How do they do that?
It's a great question. You should start with what's in front of you. Start with what follow the impulses, follow the yellow brick road. You don't have to see Oz in the far off distance. You just have to see the next brick that's in front of you, and then the next brick in front of you. Follow that yellow brick road. Follow what's intriguing or curious or enticing or what feels charming. Like follow that, because there's something within you right now that you're somewhat curious about. For me right now, I think I was sharing this yesterday. One thing I'm really curious about is learning more about the human body and how the human body works. It goes hand in hand with this work that we do, but I feel this like curiosity in the sense of wanting to learn more about that, and more in a medical sense. And so I'm going to be signing up and doing my wilderness first responder course so that I can be a wilderness first responder. And I have interest in doing EMT training to be an EMT as well. Like that just sounds interesting to me. And there's this curiosity that I feel about that. So I'm like, I'm going to go follow that thing, because right now, and this will be fun to look back on this, it's like, I don't know where that's going to lead or why I feel that interest, but I feel that interest. So like, let me go follow that thing. And again, like I said earlier, I felt that same thing after listening to this crazy guy named Wim Hof on a podcast.
Yeah.
And I followed that to Iceland to do a retreat after a couple other steps. And I've continuously followed that, and look where we're sitting as a result of following that impulse. So like, we don't know where that can lead us. I didn't know, and I couldn't try. I couldn't envision. I couldn't think myself into that. So I'm a big proponent of, if you want to feel and experience these things, community, connection, fulfillment, like start with what's accessible in front of you. And it's probably a little whisper. It's a little ping. It's a little tickle. It's like a little tickle.
That is
like
so good.
Follow that little tickle, because you know it. You can't fake it. It's there. Just pay attention to that and start small. It doesn't have to be big right away. You like drawing on your iPad, draw more. Like my little brother, I loved, he started an Instagram account for his drawings that he does, and he's feeding that. And that creates the sense of energy and momentum. And like, maybe that doesn't lead anywhere, but maybe it does. At the very least, you can express yourself. He's expressing himself in a way, and it brings him fulfillment outside of his day job. Like that's a pathway.
Brother, that is
follow
so
the yellow
good.
brick road. It's lighting up.
That is so good and so important. And And in one of my favorite aspects of it is easy. That's easy. That's attainable. I mean, I'm thinking right now, as you said it, like,
Yeah. What's
like,
for you? What's curious for you?
you know, like there's something that has been, you know, an inkling in my body that has been like, I want to learn how to fight. Like, I want to learn how to, like, whether it's Krav Maga or Muay Thai, which I've done all of them in the past. Like, I want to take it more seriously and like just pursue that. And what could happen from there is like what you're saying. It's like you could end up starting a business and starting a community, or just meet someone, or you know, form these skills that take you to this place. But like that little inkling, like following that yellow brick road, and that little inkling could lead to so much. So it's like having the self-awareness and the courage to say yes to yourself, which shouldn't be that hard.
Exactly.
And like trusting that instinct in yourself. Right?
It's so true. And a lot of times we fear that for some reason. Like we put resistance, or we make excuses.
To
not go there, and we fear that. And what I say to people that fear taking that step, or fear feeling that feeling, or going there, is that the cave that we fear to enter holds the treasure that we seek. The cave you fear to enter holds the treasure that you seek. I can't take credit for that. I think it might be Joseph Campbell. I gotta double check on who said that quote, but it's a brilliant quote, and I love that. It's like that thing that we're resisting, or that we fear, like the Stoicism. What do they say? The obstacle is away. Ryan Holiday's book, The Obstacle is Away. Like lean into that, go there. But especially when it comes to that curiosity, I'll share another story about that curiosity. I mean, I feel like my life and my story, as I reflect on it, is a series of just following the curiosity and taking a step, and watching how the universe takes a step back, and just dancing my way to this incredible life full of experiences, characters, and people that I could never have dreamt up even better. Right. And it's just like, it's like trusting the process, taking a step, not knowing fully, but being like kind of over here, and then something happening. So another perfect example. The summer that we were graduating from college, and remember, I had gone out to San Francisco after sophomore year. So junior year, senior year, I wasn't on campus, but and I was still finishing school online as I was working. And I had this, as I was doing, like following this curiosity of learning, of like, oh, this lights me up. Education came up on the forefront. And I was like, I'm really interested in the education space. I don't know what that looks like. Maybe that's like becoming a teacher. Maybe that's like joining an education technology company. I don't know, but there's something around education, because I had just done a different path than most people took in education, and I was like interested. So like I listened to this TED talk from Sir Ken Robinson on why schools kill creativity, and I was like so lit up by that. So I'm thinking, I'm curious around learning more about the education system and how education works and the different ways to do it. Like, I don't know what to do there, but I feel this curiosity. So I like look around, I'm like, okay, well, where's a step that's in front of me? Where's like a step on the yellow brick road that I can like step forward on and take that step? Or where can I throw the rock? And where it was I remembered that one of my favorite teachers, he was our head of the upper school. He had moved to Japan to be the headmaster of a boarding school in Japan that was really innovative. And they had a design thinking class and a mindfulness class. And it was like this really innovative school that was, what he said was started by like the Elon Musk equivalent of Japan, basically like started this innovative boarding school to be like, let's think about things in a different way. And so like, I remembered, I didn't know this at the time, but I was like, I know that Mr. J went over to do something like that. Like, let me shoot him an email and see what it's about. And I looked it up online. I'm like, that looks really cool. So I shoot him an email. I'm like, hey, like, you know, you want to hop on a Skype? I'd love to pick your brain about, like, you're clearly in the education space. Like, let me see if I can learn something. So I hop on a Skype call with him, and he's like, well, you know, Josh, I can tell you about it. Or if you want to come out and experience it firsthand, you can come experience it. Like, you can come do a fellowship over here. Like, we've got like a budget for you to like, for us to basically fly you over here and to like come learn and interact with the students and faculty. And I'm like, let me think about that. Okay. Yes. So I'm like, next thing I know, I'm packing my bag for Japan, and I'm actually getting flown out there. It's a free trip out there to go learn. It's like, how are you kidding me? Right? Like,
what a great
so these are the things that can happen. This is the magic of the universe, and the things that can happen
when you trust that.
When you trust that intuition and that instinct, and you follow that one step, then the universe sweeps in and is like, here you go,
brother.
So I feel like my life, and I will continue to live my life in a way that is in integrity with that, because I believe that God wants to use me as an instrument to show
Mhm.
what's possible in that. Because I mean, that's one of my many
Yeah,
stories
yeah,
of
yeah.
things that you've seen
I know.
firsthand as
I'm
well
just
that
thinking of
happen
all.
that,
Yep, yep.
that happen when we can take that step and
Mhm.
trust, because it really is this dance step with the
It's this
universe.
dance,
You
bro.
take a step, then the universe steps back. Then you
Mhm.
take a step, the
Mhm.
universe steps back. And
Mhm.
it's this dance and this game that we're
Absolutely.
playing. And like,
Absolutely.
golly, what a story.
What a story, bro. What a story. I think that might be like the most powerful thing we have talked about. Like that is so real and like that's moving out to California for me, which
Yeah,
started which is why I'm sitting here in it
right.
right now, right? Like which ripple effects of
Yeah.
all of that.
And
Like
that's like a seed that started too. Cause you think
yeah,
about like
yeah.
a lot of these things can be daunting because it's like, that's a big move. I could never do that. It's like,
Mhm.
it doesn't have to start as like this big, it didn't
It
start.
didn't
It
start.
started with a conversation
Mhm.
with us tossing a football on the
Mhm.
beach when you came out to visit California for the first time.
Mhm.
It started with this idea, the seed
Mhm.
of, tell me about it. It started with the seed of like,
Yeah, it's
maybe I can do this too.
it started with the seed of just like, wait, I am 18 or I'm what, 21 years old. Like I could just choose to move out here and just go for it. And you're like, yeah, dude, you could just choose. And I'm like, I'm doing it. Like it
Yeah.
was just like, I didn't even realize I could do that. I didn't even realize I could do that. And then
Why not?
I don't know. And maybe that's a problem with like, maybe I
Maybe
don't know. I wasn't old enough yet to understand. Like, it just always felt like, I'm from Ohio. I was from Cleveland. I went to school in Ohio. I always felt like I was going to go back home, go become a lawyer. My family's got a law practice. My whole family's got it. And I thought like that was just what I was going to do. And
Mhm.
then I don't know, like when we were on the beach, and you and Ricky hadn't been back to Oxford for 2 years or whatever it was, and like we're on the beach and like just whatever was in the air, whatever that energy I was feeling, I was just like, wait, I could just decide. Like I kind of dawned on me that all of these other kids, that were graduating, like already had like jobs lined up or knew which city they were gonna go to, and we're gonna move this or try that, and I was just like, wait, I could just choose to do this. Like I have the freedom to do that,
Mm.
you know? And
And I'm gonna go figure it out.
I'm
Is
gonna
what you
go
said.
figure it out. And I'm gonna go figure it out and bet on myself. And but like you said, it was just a seed at first. Like it wasn't like I always thought I was like, all right, I'll go out to LA for a year. And it became 2 years, became 3 years. And now it's like going on 8 years later,
Mhm.
right? So it was just like, let's go try something. Let's go do something. Let's go explore this feeling of like that I had that overcame me of like I just want to do it. I just
Mhm.
want to put myself out there. And honestly, it's like things never like even yesterday at this event we did at the Elite 11, it's like things never go as you plan them, but end up so much better than you
Tell me
could have.
more about it.
Just like just like sometimes the most important thing is just like showing up and following through. And then like by showing up and following through, like that's where the magic happens. Like that is where the pure magic happens. And there's been so many times in my life where I've overthought this event or overthought this thing or like how is this gonna go or that gonna go. But when I just like show up and follow through, like magic happens.
Mm.
Like things are just
So,
created.
what
Like,
happened yesterday?
well, just like I had no idea what to expect at
Right.
this like Elite 11 camp when we're leading these kids through cold water immersion for the first time.
Mm.
Like I think, me and our colleague JT had like a plan initially of like what we were gonna do.
Yeah.
And it just like it was kind of like they just poured in and it was just like, all right, we're going.
We're
like
just
all
going. Yeah, you
systems
have to
go.
adapt.
But the experience that was had because of that was just
Right.
better than I could have imagined. Like
Yeah.
the connection with each individual player and the experience for them and like the excitement and
Mhm.
the feedback, all of it. It was just better than I could have planned.
I know, and that's something I have to constantly work on myself as well, is just like being adaptable, because it's really easy. Even yesterday when we were playing basketball, I was working through this internally because we have an idea or an expectation of how something's going to go, and then when it doesn't, it can create this like frustration.
Yeah, you're pissed we didn't get full court.
I was pissed we didn't get full court. Yeah, I was pissed we didn't get full court. It was like way busier than normal over there because I think a lot of people had a day off, so it was way busier than normal over there. And there were the little kids playing on like the small hoop that was on the court, so we only had a half court. And I was excited to like have a run because we had a lot of guys there too. And all of a sudden, like we're just now having to play fours half court. and I was like, this sucks. Like, this is not what we were supposed to do. We're supposed to get a good run and a good sweat. And then I had to just catch myself in that moment and be like, okay, either two options here. And this was my thought process. Either I can like go through the rest of this day and this afternoon now, this evening, like pissed off and like most people probably would, like, dang, like this sucks. Like, oh, it's really pissing me off now. We don't have the full quarter. These kids are still on this other side of the court. Like, they should leave. It's like, I can either get swept up in that, which is the default and very, very, very easy to do. Or I can say, okay, like part of the process, like this is what it's supposed to be. And like, we'll make the most of this and we'll have fun with this. And I made that conscious choice to be like, okay, this is it. Let's choose this. And like, this is what is supposed to be unfolding and let's have fun with it. We great time with it.
We had an absolute blast.
And turns out that Isaac Kadeski is a beast at half court fours.
Yeah, seriously. That was, Isaac Kadeski could ball on half
court fours and make Cleveland proud.
Like, actually,
he balled out last night, huh?
He balled out.
He's going to love that we were talking about this. We'll have to tell him.
He had some jelly. Yeah, we'll have to tell him.
Yeah.
No, he better be listening to it automatically.
Yeah, he better be listening.
I'm kidding. No, man, but it's so true. It's so true. What does it mean to you that live life by design, not by default? And I think you kind of just briefly like said something about this when you're like, default would be to get so just let that thing get ruined. So what does it mean to you to live life by design and not by default?
Don't be default. Yeah. Like, we should make a shirt that says don't be default. Like, in anything and everything that you do, don't be default, because defaults, and I love looking at it from both the physiological standpoint and then the psychological standpoint, but default physiologically is going to say, be in fear and like, this is, my life is at risk because of this thing, or I feel something and my default reaction is to react to it. Instead of being default, instead of living by default, live by design and live by conscious design, live by response rather than reaction. And you need to take a breath to create that space that allows you to then respond consciously versus subconsciously react. So don't be default in those ways physiologically. When someone cuts you off on the road, default, you feel your entire system light up, you feel your blood boil. That's default. That's our default programming to do that. Okay, cool. All right, programming. Thank you for that. We're okay. We're safe. It's okay. I'm going to take a breath and I'm going to respond to this instead of react. I'm going to choose by design. I'm going to choose and design the way that I want to respond to this. So that's what I mean physiologically. That's great. So don't be default in that regard. And then in terms of your life and your life choices and your life decision and what your life looks like, don't be default. Don't default to the way that your parents or society or the media tells you that your life should look, your relationships should look. Don't just default to whatever's there, because is that really what you want? And if it is, great, then choose it. But is it really what you want? Probably not.
That is so good. That's what I was, you dunked that. That's what I wanted. That was like literally perfect. Like, don't be default to what society and what your parents or what these people are, the people, like, live by design. What is your North Star, right? Like, what is your North Star? I think that's an important question everyone should ask themselves or understand. And it might not be an actual goal or thing, but maybe it's a feeling.
Yeah.
And the reason why it is okay to like have goals or to have things you're striving for is because like the hard work and to have huge, like big, audacious things you're striving to attack is because the hard work and the person that you have to become along the way and the self-awareness that you have to gain along the way is the true gold. Is where the true gold is.
Amen.
So.
Yep. I'm going to leave this convo here with one more thing to share, which is something I've been focused on as well this month of June is high intention, low attachment. How can I show up with a high intention and a high intention to serve and a high intention to do the best that I can with what's in front of me, and a low attachment to the outcome? I think that if we can master that as human beings, it changes the energy that we show up with. It changes what we attract. It changes the output of our performance. If we can show up with the highest intention possible and a low attachment to the outcome of that, that's mastery. And that's something that I'm practicing right now.
Josh, that's absolutely beautiful. Honestly, I gotta say, like, you showed out today. Like I
thank you, brother. You too,
like,
man.
Those clips were, like,
yeah, hell yeah,
nailed
Thank you, bro.
that, bro.
Likewise.
So like
Likewise.
honor and a privilege sharing the mic with you, bro.
Always.
Always.
Until next time.
Until
man.
next
You're
time.
a regular on the show
Yeah,
now.
way more to come.
And we're gonna start doing a Monday, some sort of Monday
Yes,
thing
yeah.
together more
Yeah, we're gonna
regularly.
do a little Monday motivation. Get you guys really is for like we just get
for
each
us.
other
But
hyped up. But
exactly. And now we've made the social contract. We said it.
Bingo.
We're gonna do it.
We're gonna
That's another thing. Make the social contract.
make the
Say it.
social contract. Speak it into existence.
Yeah.
Vibrationally.
What do you got? What do you want to leave the what do you want to leave listeners with today?
I would like to leave people with whatever it is that you are facing, whatever it is that seems difficult or is hard. What's really sticking with me right now is like, let's not take this so seriously. Don't forget, this is supposed to be fun. We're supposed to live and be happy and have fun. But B, just watch what happens if you could be indifferent about the things out of your control. And instead of acting like this is happening to me, is that you just decide to accept it and you actually choose it and physiologically take back control of that. And watch what happens when you can embrace that nobly and head on. You will turn that misfortune into true good fortune. That is where your blessings lie. That is where your growth lies. That is where you can create. And in that place, you are beyond powerful being. So like,
light me up.
Embrace
dude.
it nobly. Let's go.
Embrace it nobly.
Choose it nobly.
Let's go.
Let's go.
Chad Sonkin, my brother.
Joshua.
Thank you.
Pleasure.
Dude. Love you, man.
Great job, 44.
Yeah. All right, 19. I see you out there. I see you in the field.
Thank you, baby.
All right, y'all.
In the field.
Until next time.